Storytime about how my boyfriend's ex is threatening to have me raped. This girl is so crazy, I'm actually scared of her. My boyfriend and I started dating 3 months ago. Everything started when we made it official on Instagram. But here's the thing, my boyfriend never told me that he had a crazy ass ex. He just told me that she was intense. But as soon as he posted about me on his Instagram, she followed me on 3 separate accounts and started stalking my Instagram. That very same day, I started getting these weird, ominous text messages. For 2 weeks straight, this girl pretended to be another guy. And this guy was basically saying that he knew where I lived, and that he knew what car I drove, where I worked, and that he wanted to see me in person so that he could profess his love to me. After about a week of getting those messages, I showed him to my boyfriend. And that's when this man tells me that he needs to confess something. That his ex-girlfriend before me is crazy and that she has been stalking him for 6 months. And that the person behind those messages was probably her. He told me to ignore the messages and that she would eventually stop. But then I started getting messages from another account, and these messages were way more aggressive. They sent me a picture of me walking my dog in the park, and that they wanted to kidnap me. Of course, I went to the police. After 2 weeks of her pretending to be other people and sending me crazy messages, I finally went to the police. That's when the police told me that there was no way of actually knowing if she was the one that sent the messages, and that there was no actual crime committed because she hadn't hurt me physically. Okay. That's when I forced my boyfriend to tell me what had happened between them. So apparently, my boyfriend and her had dated for 2 years on and off. She wanted to get married, and my boyfriend said yes eventually, but she took that as him saying yes, and she even started planning a wedding. When she started planning the wedding, my boyfriend told her that she was crazy. And yes, he used the word crazy. He broke up with her and abandoned her. So I see why she would be really upset, but why is she taking it out on me? That's when I told my boyfriend he needed to tell her to leave me alone. He called her right there in front of me, and she acted like she had done nothing. She completely denied that she was the one sending the messages. 20 minutes after they hung up, I got an email, and the email was filled with disturbing images of women being essayed. And at the bottom of the email it said, "This is gonna happen to you." I was terrified. That's when I saw the email that was filled with disturbing images of women being essayed. And at the bottom it said that it would happen to me. Of course I showed my boyfriend the email. Then he told me to put on my shoes because we were gonna go to his ex's house. I was terrified. We get to his ex's house and knock on her door. She opens the door and instantly hugs us. Then she proceeds to act like a friend. He showed her the emails and all the messages and she flat out denied it. And get this, then she says that someone is trying to set her up and that she's not crazy enough to do something like that. We finally left her house and for a few days I didn't get any messages until the messages started up, and even worse this time. It was from that same account before. The messages said that they would kidnap me and do stuff to me in their car, and that I would never know who it was because they'd be wearing a mask. For the next 5 days, the messages continued. It got to the point where I wasn't even leaving my house. My boyfriend and family had to accompany me everywhere. My boyfriend and family are both scared. I want to expose her so badly, but what if she does something to me? What if she hired some strange guy to follow me and kidnap me and do stuff to me? Or what if she does something to me herself? I'm terrified. What should I do?
Am I wrong for hiding from my mom that I've been messaging her birth daughter? When my mom, 46 female, was 21, she was married to some guy in the States who was cheating on her when she was pregnant. She hated him and hated that she was having his baby, had a traumatic pregnancy, was really depressed and didn't like being a parent, then signed away the rights to Alyssa, 25 female, some months after she gave birth. Alyssa was adopted by her father's affair partner and raised by her. My mom moved up here north to Canada, fell in love with my dad and married him when she was 30. She's had nothing to do with Alyssa besides demanding she never contact her again after she tried to. Last year, my mom finally told me about Alyssa, but made it clear that she didn't see her as a daughter and that Alyssa's mother was her father's wife. She also demanded that we try to not get them into any contact. So that's cool and all, but I was really fascinated by this idea of a sister I never had. So I secretly started messaging her, and even though she was hesitant at first, we've become good friends and I really want to meet her. She's also become really successful in her field and works at the University of Toronto, which is where I want to go. I'm not going to lie, I really look up to her and would love to follow in her footsteps, and Toronto is a lot better of a city than the one we currently live in. The problem is that I left my phone unlocked yesterday and my mom freaked out when she saw that I was talking to her. She pointed out that she didn't want a reunion or me talking with her and that we aren't family and doesn't want my siblings to know before they're my age. I felt really bad because she started crying a lot, like more than I've ever seen before. My dad told me it would all be okay, but he's been the one dropping me off to school, even though it's always been my mom. I've been wondering if I'm the asshole from hiding from my mom that I've been messaging Alyssa. So, am I?
I absolutely hate my brother, and I'm not sure what to do anymore. My whole life, I've been told to leave a proud path for him to follow. My brother's 1 year younger than me, and I realize now that it's all been for naught. He's always been terrible, fought with my parents over ridiculous stuff. He always wanted the newest and most expensive pair of shoes or clothes, and they would sometimes wait for hours just to get them. And yet, when I asked them to pay for a fee so I can go on my trip to Australia with my school, they decline. Meanwhile, he dropped out of school, something that my parents made seem unforgivable, yet they still house, feed, and put up with him to this day. I am a senior in college now, and all he's done the last 4 years is sit at home. Yet I'm the one who gets assigned chores when I come back from school. He doesn't take out the trash, bring in groceries. He doesn't wash any of the dishes. He uses everything and does nothing but smoke and eat everything in the house. This past summer, I had an internship with Amazon, and I made quite a bit of money in preparation for the fall semester. I sent my parents some of the money, since even though we don't struggle much, I know it helps. Even after me sending this money, they had the nerve to ask why I didn't send my brother anything. Again, I'm 22 and he's 21. He is fully able-bodied and sound of mind. Why would I send him anything? The funny part is that they constantly hound me about looking for a job before I've even gotten my degree, but never seem to mention it to him whatsoever. It hurts because I love them. But as soon as I can, I'm never coming back to that house. It angers me so much to have done the right thing for my brother, thinking I made things easy. Teachers would always say how great I was, and how they were so sure my brother would be the same. The second we were in the same school, he messed it up. He spent time with a wrong group, and as you can imagine, he always got in trouble and never did anything our parents asked of him. Everyone at school always talked about how different he was and asked me why, as if I knew at that age. Even today, I still don't know what's wrong with him. I'm honestly just sick of it. I'm sick of being the good child, but treated like trash. And at this point, I'm so done with my family.
Am I wrong for blowing up at my wife for going to her gender reveal appointment without me? My wife and I are expecting our first baby together. We made an appointment to find out the gender of the baby. To me, this was very important because I have hopes for a boy. Unfortunately, the day of the doctor's appointment, I had to attend my friend's birthday that I remembered last minute. I asked my wife if we could cancel the appointment and go another day, but she looked shocked that I even considered canceling the appointment and going to my friend's birthday. She said canceling the doctor appointment was off the table because these appointments are restricted to a specific time and date and we can't miss it, so she'll go alone. I told her no because that'd be selfish of her. That would be selfish of her, and besides, this will ruin the news of finding out if the baby is a boy or a girl. She cut the discussion and told me to go to the birthday party. I did, and then later found out that she didn't cancel the doctor appointment and went with her mom. I came home seething and blew up at her. I started arguing with her about going behind my back and doing this without me. She said it wasn't her fault that I prioritized a party over my child. I told her I didn't prioritize anything. She literally could have canceled and we would have went another day, but clearly she was trying to steer the fight to a direction where I looked like the neglectful and irresponsible one. We fought some, then she said I'm probably angry with her because it's a girl, but I responded that she was wrong. She went outside the room claiming I was stressing her out. Now she's acting like I owe her an apology on top of everything else, but I feel upset like I was deceived by her. So, am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for leaking the notebook in which a person described everyone they slept with in detail? I, female 19, live in university halls. Our student village halls are houses with 5 people each one having a single room, with 4 other flatmates, one of whom is Sierra, also female 19. Each one of us have our own room and we have a communal kitchen with kind of living room area inside the kitchen. It's exam season and after that, we are done with our year and we're moving out. All year, Sierra has been a party girl. I'm not judging. It's totally normal to party in your first year and legal drinking age here is 18 where I am. I would be lying if I said I didn't party. And she's been experimenting with a lot of her sexuality. Again, no judgment. But she's also been very vocal about having a notebook in which she writes down every one night stand or sexual encounter she had and how she was planning to make it into a book after she graduates. She told a lot of people that she writes down names, body details, and details of the encounter. Everyone pretty much ignores her when she's talking about it because we just find it cringy. Well, the other day I was home alone. Sierra left for her exam, and I went into the kitchen to grab myself a cup of coffee and noticed a notebook on the table. It looked like one of mine, and I was studying in the kitchen the night before, so I grabbed it thinking that I must have left it. Oh boy, was I wrong. Turns out it was Sierra's infamous sex notes notebook. It was a train wreck. I know I should have stopped reading, but I couldn't put it down. It was so much worse than anyone thought. It was details of every encounter with scores and disparaging comments about people she slept with. She was rating their bodies, commenting on their skills, smells, etc. Every single detail about the encounter, comparing them to others, etc. I took photos of every single page and left the notebook where it was and I didn't mention it. I edited some photos, removed the names, and posted it anonymously to a Facebook group that we shared with some people. It blew up all over campus and Sierra got a lot of hate for this. Well, she ended up figuring out who it was that leaked it and she blew up at me, calling me a bunch of names, threatening me with legal action, etc. And she reported me for bullying to uni authorities. Now, in the aftermath of her figuring it out, I'm sitting here wondering if I was really the asshole for posting the photos of her notebook. So, am I the asshole for making it public?
How did I sneak out with the cameras? Well, it's simple, really. I jumped off the roof. So, a couple months after the previous incident, I decided I was going to sneak out again. but it was going to be difficult because there is in fact cameras surrounding the entire outside of my house now. So I need a good plan. So I know where all the cameras can see and where they can't see. And the problem here is that I can't go out of any of the windows on the first floor anymore because they have little sensors on them now that set off alarms every time you open them. But the windows on the second floor did not. So I was taking advantage of that. The only window that had access to the roof was in my baby sister's room. So in the middle of the night, when she was sleeping, I snuck into her room while she was sleeping. I snuck in while she was sleeping, opened the window, popped the screen out, and slid it under her bed while she's dreaming away. She sleeps like the dead, so I was not worried about her waking up. I was still so worried about my parents waking up more than anything. Once I get out onto the roof, finally, I'm shitted. I'm scared because I look over the edge and that's a solid 20-foot drop. There's no way I'm making that unscathed. No possible fucking way. So my first plan is to lower myself off the edge of the roof and then drop so that the fall isn't as far. But yeah, that didn't work because when I went to go grab the side of the roof, there's actually a little gutter, like rainwater drainage thing that runs along the side of the roof, and as soon as I put the slightest bit of weight on it, it fell and started dangling off the side of the roof. So, and it was loud as fuck. I don't know how nobody woke up. I spend the next 15 minutes psyching myself up to jump off the motherfucking roof because that was the only option for plan B. And I was being a pussy. My friends are texting me and they're like, bitch, what's taking so long? Just do it already. Like, come on, it's not that far. You got it. And I'm like, guys, I'm terrified that I'm gonna land and crack my motherfucking head open. It's taken so long that one of my friends calls me and he's like psyching me up. He's like, girl, you got this. Come on, just do it already. So I sit my ass on the edge of the roof. I drop my bag first, and then I drop myself. And I may or may not have forgot to mention that there was a small patch of grass that was my target landing, next to a bunch of fucking rocks. Yeah, I didn't land in the grass. And I fucked up my knee so bad. I'm pretty sure I still have pictures of it somewhere, and I'm gonna try to find them to show you guys. But my fall was so loud that I got up and I immediately booked it with all this pain shooting through my legs and made it to my friend's car.
So I'm about to be homeless in San Diego, and this is not clickbait, that is for real. Tomorrow I will be homeless in San Diego. Basically what happened was my wife and I decided to do a cross-country road trip. We packed up the Prius and we went from Pennsylvania to California. We quit our jobs, we left our families, like everything. Like we were just like, bye Pennsylvania, because we just fucking hate it there. And I don't know, we were bored, we're young, we're like, let's go to fucking California, like let's start living. Got to California, we got a hotel for a week. I don't know what was not computing up here when we thought that it would only take 1 week to find jobs and an apartment. I don't know what the fuck we were thinking. But anyway, now everything is way too expensive for us to afford. Our savings have been going down, 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 down. And so tomorrow we're starting our camping. Because guess what? We haven't found jobs or an apartment in 1 week. And guess what? People will not rent you an apartment if you're broke without proof of employment. And so anyway, today I'm going in for an interview at a restaurant. I've never worked in the service industry. I've never done anything like waitressing or anything like that. I'm gonna pull up with my resume. You know what my resume says? It says that I went to Johns Hopkins for neuroscience. And then that I worked as a therapist for 2 years. Why the fuck would they hire me at a restaurant? Like literally, I'm freaking out.
So I just pulled up to a red light and there was an attractive girl in the car next to me. And I'm working on my self-confidence per the request/demand of my therapist. So I figured why not let my hair down and show some skin. So I smiled and waved at her like a penguin from Madagascar. And she full on laughed. And I'm not talking like the cute, like, laugh like the, boy if you don't get kind of laugh. Our windows were down. I heard her cackle over the sound of my own music. Never more so in my life have I wanted to off the road into a telephone pole, but obviously I didn't do that. Instead, I rolled my window up with lightning quickness and then drove the rest of the way in silence. So how's your Wednesday morning going?
My sister ruined our grandpa's funeral. Throw away because I don't want this tied back to me and I just need to vent. My family is very religious but not the crazy controlling type of religious. I don't believe in God and they've never treated me differently because of that. They've never turned my sister away because she's bisexual and an atheist. They treat everyone like a human being no matter what. My sister hates when there's peace and quiet. Whenever there's drama it's usually my sister behind it. She gaslights people into fighting and loves to make people hate each other. The one thing she's never been able to break apart with her lies was my family until yesterday. My grandpa was the nicest man I've ever met. He was hardworking and loved to teach and help others. He passed away recently and we held the funeral yesterday. There was over 100 people in attendance and everything was going as good as a funeral could go. My great uncle asked us to pray and as everyone bowed their heads to pray my sister stood up. She started screaming that she wished our grandpa was sent to hell. She said that she was glad he was dead. I had to physically drag her out of the funeral home. When I asked her what the fuck she was doing she started fucking laughing. She's a 20-year-old woman and she disrespected not only our grandpa but our mother who lost her father and every other member of our fucking family. I had to leave the fucking funeral early because I was her ride. Words cannot describe how pissed off I am. It's like she can't even comprehend how much she just fucked up. She burned her bridges and I won't be forgetting it for the rest of my life. I had to hold our mother while she sobbed all night long. My sister is in her room and walking around the house like nothing has even happened.
Okay, so the other day, everyone knows I've been talking about all my gluten and dairy issues. I'm going out of the country. I didn't have them. Well, somebody wrote a comment on my TikTok, the Tick of the Talk, the other day and was like, seems like somebody's just pretending to have allergies. Now, this person's username was KelsPumSucks, so we're going to take it with a grain of salt. Reminded me of a trip I took one time to San Francisco with two of my coworkers that I feel it's time for the world to hear about. It was a work trip, but I own the company, so for me, it was a vacation. Vacation, I'm gonna eat whatever I want. At dinner I said, I might have a cheesecake. Yes, I am. My coworkers knew my dairy intolerance and they were like, do you really think that's a great idea? And I was like, yeah, it'll be fine, guys, it's not that deep. I can assure you now that both heavily disagree. It was in fact that deep. She did lie. For the next 72 hours, in fact, it was an issue. It was a toxic one. Wouldn't have felt bad if it was just these two that got in the path of my dairy intolerance, because you know what? They knew what they signed up for. They let me eat that cheesecake. They let me eat it. So it's on them, really. But the plane full of 122 people flying back did not sign up for it. And it did then become a public health care crisis on that plane. My ass shut that whole plane down. Literally. I wasn't on that plane intentionally pretending it was one of my coworkers. Like, ew, did you just, oh my God, was that you? You don't know me very well. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not faking. The world may never really know, but those 122 people, they know. They know. Alexa, cue J. Cole, she knows.
She knows.